Okay. You guys should be able to hear me. Yeah. You guys should be able to hear me. If you can, let me know. If you can't, then hopefully we can get it figured out. Where's my headphones? Here they are. Headphones are right in front of my face. Okay, now I got my headphones on. I'm in my safe place. I always wear my headphones when I'm at my computer, so it's like a habit to like put them on. And I always feel weird if I don't have them on for some reason. Because one of the things you guys don't know is whenever I'm making my videos, and usually when I'm recording my videos, I'm always listening to music in the background. So that way I always have something going on. There's always something to keep my brain from getting all frazzled and so on. So anyway, so what's up? Oh, man. Not really any questions yet, which is fine. Questions will start rolling in here in a second. For those of you guys who are new, who have never been part of Comics and Coffee, this is a chance for me to basically answer the questions that you guys have. This is your day out of the week to ask me all kinds of questions and to remove that guy's comment and possibly ban him if he does it again. But it's a chance for you guys to talk to me directly, which I've always thought is a very important element of YouTube channels, for YouTubers to reach out and to talk directly with their fans, their subscribers, as often as they can. And so I figured, I might as well, do it like once a week and talk to you guys. No, I'm not hungover. I actually, last night was awful. Like, I was over at the guy's house and we were watching the game and we were like, oh yes, we're coming back. And then UK threw it all away with 3 shot clock violations, a bunch of missed shots. It was pitiful. So I was a little irritated. I'm 30 years old. Actually, I'm 31 now. It's my birthday. Thank you for all the birthday wishes, by the way. I was looking at the chat before I started the stream, and a lot of you guys were going through and they were like, "Happy birthday, Rob! Happy birthday, Rob!" which is really cool. So I appreciate that. Yes, I've seen the Punisher short Dirty Laundry, and that was amazing. Like, that was such a good short. I'm really hoping if they reboot the Punisher, or if they do the Punisher film, like they do them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which they're supposed to, that they will basically use that version of the Punisher. I mean, one, Thomas Jane has to come back as a Punisher. There's nobody else who can play that character like he can. I mean, he just kind of solidified his ability to play that character in the first Punisher movie. As bad as it was written, like, he was able to solidify that character pretty well, and he looks like he's the part. I mean, he's not as big and bulky as Frank Castle normally is, but he doesn't have to be, because as long as he's written well, he could still be pretty effective. And I think that if the movie is written right, jeez, if it's written well, that he could be unbelievable with his role as the Punisher, which, we'll see what's up. But yes, Dirty Laundry was so good. Like, that was so amazing. Okay, so yeah, I really hope he is Frank Castle. Yeah, like, he's really got to be Frank Castle. So how does it feel to have your birthday on Easter Sunday? It's weird. Like, I don't think I've ever had my birthday on Easter Sunday before. So it's kind of strange, but it's kind of a cool feeling too at the same time, because it means that I'm special. Do you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And what do I think of Skye or anyone else could pop up in Age of Ultron? I think Skye is definitely going to pop up in Age of Ultron. So here's the problem. The Marvel's made Skye an Inhuman, and you can't open that box of worms and then just keep it confined. Like, that's just never, I guess, box of worms? You can't open that can of worms and keep it confined. It's just not going to work out that way. So here's what I think is going to happen with Skye, with Daisy Johnson. One, which, by the way, I've actually got a jug of water during this week's Comics and Coffee. Going to the gym all the time, it feels so good, but, like, I constantly drink water. Like, I'll just drink this jug of water all day long. Well, I'll drink this jug and then probably another one, and a ton of water all day long. Which is good, because once I start to slim down, I won't have all that, hopefully won't have all that skin, like, hanging off and looking all nasty and shit. But anyway, oh yeah, so Daisy Johnson. So I think that what they're going to do is they're going to use Daisy Johnson to basically segue into the Inhumans. She's going to be the way that we meet like Black Bolt and the other Inhumans and so on and so forth. I mean, obviously at this point, the way the last episode ended, she's going to probably the same place that Reyna was taken, and so she's probably going to meet with Reyna, and Reyna's going to be like, okay, I'm not mad at you anymore, even though you look better than me, which is cool, but. Nonetheless, I wish that milk jug was full of coffee. I don't. Like, imagine if that milk jug was full of coffee, comics and water. but but no, I think that she'll segue in that. But anyway, here's the thing. So I don't know if we'll really see like Sky during Age of Ultron. I think the reason why they took her to the Inhumans is because now like she's out of the picture. Like she's no longer part of the picture. Like she's out of there now. Like she's not going to be in Age of Ultron. I highly doubt it, because now she's going to whatever wherever the Inhumans are. What's going on, Advil, Mr. Advil X? She's going to wherever the Inhumans are, and so she won't be in Age of Ultron. Now she'll probably be in Infinity War, and I think that what they're going to do is they're probably going to leave her character out for a while. They may even bring her back in, or they may like show us what happens with her character later on. I'm not really sure what they're going to do there, but this would be a great way for Marvel, or I guess yeah, for Marvel to say, she's not going to be in Age of Ultron, but she will be in Infinity War. And as part of Infinity War, she's going to have a far more nuanced control over her abilities than she currently does now. She's going to be unbelievably powerful. That'd be a really cool way to segue her character in, but nonetheless. Let's see. What's Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's new origin? I heard they weren't mutants anymore, so what are they? Okay, Scarlet Witch and Inhuman. I'm sorry, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are Inhumans now. And if I recall correctly, I think it was like all new X-Men. No, it wasn't all new X-Men. It was whatever group they're part of now. I can't remember. Maybe it is. It's new X-Men or something like that. Anyway, they're fighting Magneto, and she casts a spell that causes all the members of her family to fall unconscious or something like that. It was really just kind of like shoved in there, stupid way to do it. But Magneto didn't collapse. And so that's when it was revealed to us that Magneto's not their father, and they made them Inhumans after that. And it was stupid. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like it was like, okay, like they weren't even trying at that point. They were just like, somebody just figure out a way to make Scarlet Witch and Human, or Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver and Humans and whatever, and that was it. So we were just talking about Daisy Johnson, about Sky. So since Convergence and Secret Wars are starting almost at the same time, sort of, my question is there going to be any kind of artists switching companies because of the ongoing events and stuff? We know that Jonathan Hickman is leaving Marvel, I think, and he's going to DC. Aside from that, I don't know. I don't know of any other artists that are switching sides or anything like that. I think that once Hickman, I think when he finishes Secret Wars, it's either when he finishes Secret Wars or when Secret Wars starts, he's leaving Marvel and going to DC. But it's sometime around that. Like his decision is based on Secret Wars. I think it's when time runs out, like when the whole series is over, that he's going Uncanny Avengers. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm thinking that's when that's when Jonathan Hickman is leaving and going to DC. How do you want the Netflix characters to be handled in the MCU, the Defenders? Well, see, here's the problem. The Defenders were like a small time version of the Avengers, so to speak. It was some of the characters that people enjoyed, but that you couldn't put in reasonable circumstances. Like I think the original Defenders were the Incredible Hulk, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, Fire Lord maybe, and somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. That was back. That was way back when. But that's a group that it's interesting. They're kind of changing it up. What I'm really hoping they do with the Defenders, and this might go against some of the things that people really love about the Defenders proper, or about the characters that are going to be the Defenders in the Netflix series, is I'm really hoping they keep them. I'm hoping they keep them street level. I'm hoping that they keep them, more grounded. I mean, we've got the Avengers fighting aliens and going out into space, and we've got the Guardians of the Galaxy doing cosmic stuff. May my cartomizer never be empty. I appreciate it. I really hope the Defenders just stay street level. Like, I'm really hoping they deal with like street level crime, street level villains, because I think that it'd be very, very easy for Marvel to basically wrap everything up into cosmic level events. And that's the problem that a lot of people have with the current run of Marvel Comics is there's so many things that are cosmic level. Guardians of the Galaxy and the X-Men with Black Vortex, and Guardians of the Galaxy stories, and the Avengers and Infinity, and all that kind of good stuff. Those cosmic stories are cool, but people like stories they can relate to, I think. I think people like stories that they can look at and say, like, I could easily be caught up in a situation like that. I mean, minus superpowers and stuff like that, but they like more grounded stories. And I think that cosmic level things should be once in a blue moon. And if they're going to do the Defenders right, at least for me, I think they should do them, more grounded, more reasonable. But what do I think the post-credit scene in Age of Ultron is going to be? Definitely Spider-Man. We talked about this during the last time we did Comics and Coffee, and I got to tell you guys, I can't think of a single circumstance where they wouldn't have Spider-Man. I can guarantee it was probably going to be something maybe Adam Warlock related, or maybe Thanos related. Thanos gets an Infinity Gem in his hand, or maybe he's collecting them. He's got like 3 of them, or something like that. Whatever the reason, whatever the case may be. But as soon as they got the ability to put Spider-Man in the MCU, they went right back to the drawing board, and they said, somebody come up with a post-credit scene. It's got to be good, and make it happen fast. And that's probably exactly what's happening. So, let's see. Can I explain Black Vortex? I'm not a big fan of Black Vortex, to be honest. Like, I'm not too into it. Black Vortex was decent enough, but I'm not a big enough fan of the current run of the X-Men or the Guardians of the Galaxy that I was inclined to pick up Black Vortex. But I may read it. I mean, Benny says it's really good, so I may read it and may see what it's about. Comics back in 80s to 05 were great. Mount Now comics, in my opinion, are just a soap opera. Your thoughts? To a degree, they are. I think that one of the great things about Marvel and even DC comics, although again I'm not too familiar with DC in the 80s, was that with Marvel comics especially, you were like, they were basically building blocks. Like, everything that Marvel was doing in the 80s was building to how great the 90s were. The 90s were just a byproduct of how great the 80s were in comics. I mean, you got to think, you had Claremont's entire run of the X-Men in the 1980s. I mean, that like established the X-Men. That made the X-Men like mainstream. That's why the X-Men stories were so awesome coming out of Claremont's run, because they had all this build-up. They had all this character definition. Like, we knew who Cyclops was. We knew Storm. We knew all these characters on such a personal level, because it was basically a way to make things more intriguing, to make things more solid. The issue here was going after the 1990s, all that was used up. And so it just kind of went from there. All right, somebody said the audio and the video's out of sync. Is that true? It shouldn't be, but if it is, let me know. And I'll try to get it back in sync. It shouldn't be out of sync. It should be pretty solid. Let's see. But let's see. Do I think the Beyonder that got turned into a tree will be important? No. I think it was just a way to write out like the Ex Nihilo and all those characters, Starbrand and all that stuff. Not out of sync for you. Nope. It's fine. Nothing to worry about. Happy B-Day, Rob. It's fine here. Okay. Well, I mean, people seem to say it's fine, and those who say it's a little bit, but it doesn't really matter that much. So, okay, cool. As long as it's not like 5 seconds out of sync, as long as it's not horrendous, then we're fine. Anyway, so who's my all-time favorite comic book character? The Century, Robert Reynolds. Let me tell you guys something. For those of you guys who are new in comics, and those of you guys who have Marvel Unlimited, if there's any story that I would suggest, and in fact, like Sal has a new series on his channel called Fan Favorites, where he basically is reaching out to like me, Benny, and himself, and I guess he's reaching out to himself. He's basically having people, and I think it really is, the main focus is going to be on him and other people that he knows, but They're going to be talking about their fan favorite stories, what it is, what stories they love the most. And it's going to be like a minute and a half to 3 minutes, something like that. I told him my favorite was The Sentry, Robert Reynolds. If you have Marvel Unlimited, The Sentry, like the 5-part series, The Sentry, and even like the 3 or 4 tie-in comics, I think. They weren't really tie-ins, they were just kind of like one-offs to expand and give credence to the whole Sentry thing. That is some of the best comic book reading you're ever going to go through. Like it is, there's some of the best stories I've ever read. Like I loved Marvel Knights the Century. Like as soon as I picked it up, I could not put it down. Like Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee were like the 1-2 punch of comic books with that story. It was unbelievable. It was pretty solid. The Century and Blue Marvel are awesome. Blue Marvel's pretty awesome. He doesn't. He's woefully underused, but he's pretty awesome. Hey Rob, will you and Variant Comics ever work together on a video? I'd love to at some point, but the problem is that we're super busy. Like, here's the thing you guys got to remember: with Convergence and Secret Wars coming up, like Convergence starts next week. Convergence issue number 1 is next week. That's when that kicks off. Secret War starts in May. Issue number 1 comes out in May, I think, May 2nd, which is Free Comic Book Day, and then issue number 2 is the one that takes us through all the things, all of the realities and I guess the worlds and all that kind of good stuff. It's like our big tour of Battle World. But we've got to do like time runs out. We got a few things we need to do before then, and some of the characters like Superior Iron Man are probably going to be included. So we've got to do like Superior Iron Man and so on. But no, like our schedules are going to be stupid busy. They're going to be ridiculously busy. One thing you guys are going to like though is Mr. Sunday Movies is coming onto the podcast tomorrow. So at least he's supposed to be. So hopefully you guys will dig that. But what do I think of Convergence number 0? I think the fact that I had to make a video explaining a single issue of a comic is a problem. I usually try to steer away from explaining like single issue comics. I don't like explaining a single issue of a comic because 9 times out of 10 comics aren't one-offs. They're usually like a big, huge, they're part of an expansive story, part of an ongoing story. But the problem is with Convergence issue number 0, I was reading through it. I had to read it 3 times, like 3 or 4 times, to make it make sense. And I was like, okay, I can guarantee there's a whole bunch of my subs out there, a whole bunch of my fans out there who were confused as hell about this comic, like what they're saying, what's going on, because Dan Jurgens didn't do anything to help out anybody understand what was going on. And so I was like, okay. So I was like, I should probably make a video explaining this, and some people will say, okay, hopefully this makes sense after the video is done. So, are you watching Flash and Arrow on the CW? Yeah. Like, Flash and Arrow are amazing. I mean, Flash and Arrow are so good. They've gotten so much better than they originally were. Like, when Flash first came on, I was like, okay, this is going to be kind of hokey. And I watched the first, with Arrow is a little bit different. When I watched the first episode of Arrow, I was like, this isn't bad. And I watched like the first few seasons, or the first few episodes, I was like, this is actually kind of cool. Like, he's killing people, which is kind of cool. You know, it was more like a trumped up kind of thing. I gave it some time and they just grew on me. And now, like, as soon as like the stories kick off, like, as soon as the episodes come out on Hulu, like I'm immediately watching them. so they're solid. Let's see. Do I read DC comics since there's no DC Unlimited? Yeah, I read DC as often as I can, but the fact that there is no DC Unlimited makes it difficult to do older stories, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad they're bringing these older stories back with Convergence, because now we get to explain them. I mean, they're going to be like a series of 2-issue stories, I think. So, thank you, Mega Bad Guy. I appreciate it. Let's see. Do I think Spider-Man will be in Civil War? Most definitely. I mean, Civil War is the most anticipated movie Marvel has coming out, probably more so than Age of Ultron. This is the funny thing. Everybody was looking at Avengers 2 Age of Ultron like, oh my god, it's going to be so cool, another Avengers film. And then Marvel says, like, hearken alas, guys, we have the rights. I need to plug in my e-cigarette thing. They say we have the rights to, or not really the rights, but we have the ability to include Spider-Man in any movie of our choosing. And then the rumor mill started churning stuff out. And one of the things rumor mill churned out was that Spider-Man was going to be in Captain America 3. And that immediately set Captain America 3 to the #1 spot. People were like, oh my God, I can't wait for Captain America 3 to come out. So I think the hype train kind of made Marvel's decision for them, in the sense that they were like, well, I guess we might as well have him in Captain America 3. And so they're probably going to put him in there. I mean, unless they went back and just like threw him into a scene in Age of Ultron, which would be amazing. That'd be pretty awesome. But nonetheless, I think Captain America 3 is when we will have Spider-Man in the MCU. Let's see. Rob wanted to get your thoughts on the end of Avengers 43, Tony off to Saul's Hammer, and the Rogue Planet. Well, the Rogue Planet, I think, is a planet that was shifted. That was a planet that shifted out of phase. But Saul's Hammer is basically like the Dyson sphere that Tony built. If you remember all the way back to Incursions, when they were working on their individual projects, Tony Stark was building a Dyson sphere that would channel the energy of the sun and would destroy planets. And that, I think, is what he's going to harness the power of to destroy the Shi'ar, I guess, or to do something. But at this point, it's not going to matter. I mean, everything's ending. Like, it's all cracking down. So chances are the Shi'ar will be blown up, and that'll be that. Like, it won't make that much of a difference. Let's see. Hey Rob, what comic stories or arcs would you like to see as animated movies? Oh, that's a good question. Because I've thought about a few of these. I've thought about a few of these. Which ones would I like to see? Well, definitely. Well, now I can't think of any. I thought about a litany of these. The Killing Joke needs to be a animated film. That would be amazing. I would say Night of the Owls and Court of the Owls, which we will finish Night of the Owls. Don't worry, guys. We'll probably finish Night of the Owls once Convergence ends, because New 52 picks up after Convergence. I would say Rage of Ultron would probably make a good animated film. Rage of Ultron was decent enough, but Rage of Ultron was just like Marvel saying, like, hey guys, here's how Ultron's going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Basically it. And the fact that he becomes, I guess, like Hank Pym becomes Ultron at the end. I don't know. Like Ultron has a heart. It's weird. Let's see. Yeah, those are the only few I could think of off the top of my head. They didn't have like a Brightest Day and Darkest Night animated series, did they? I mean, I don't think they did. If they did, then like I didn't see it, and I need to. Do I think Vulcan will come back? Probably not. There's no need to bring him back. I don't know why they would bring him back anymore. I mean, nobody would really care about a story involving the Third Summer's brother. That time's come and gone. I don't think people would really care that much. Age of Apocalypse with the voice cast from X-Men the Animated Series. Well, the problem is the guy that played Apocalypse in X-Men the Animated Series, the guy that voiced him, I think he died. So they couldn't bring him back, that would suck. I mean, that guy was like the voice of Apocalypse. I can't remember what his name was, but he was the voice of Apocalypse, and he was amazing. Why isn't the Marvel Animated Universe on par with the DC Universe? Because Marvel has the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they don't need to be on par. But there are some movies that are actually really good from the Marvel Animated Universe. The Doctor Strange movie is really, really good. The Avengers Assemble series was really, really good. Like those were awesome. Awesome things. Yeah, I didn't think there was a Brightest Day movie so far. That would be really, really cool to see. Please answer. Do you play MAA? Sorry for spamming. Real sorry. I don't know what MAA is. I don't know what you mean. How do you feel about the X-Men having their own universe after Secret Wars? Well, see, we don't know exactly how this is going to play out. They've been very, very touchy on this. They've been very honestly not very forthcoming with that. I know we're going to have X-Men 92. I know there's going to be like an X-Men universe that's separate, but I don't know what that means. I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm excited to see it. I mean, I love the X-Men as much as anybody else. The X-Men have dropped off in recent years, but the X-Men will always have a special place in my heart, because when I was a kid, that's how I got into comics, was the X-Men. So I'll always love the X-Men, but I'm just kind of curious to see what all they're going to do. I'm kind of curious to see how all it's going to play out. Am I Batman? No, I'm not Batman. How many Ant-Man movies do you think Marvel's going to make? Honestly, here's the problem with them doing Ant-Man. Like, I think Ant-Man will be good in its own right. I think it'll be pretty solid. I think it feels a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy. See, a lot of you guys who I guess who were getting in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Guardians of the Galaxy had a long running history in Marvel Comics, but the Guardians of the Galaxy from the film was a relatively new group. They showed up after Annihilation, I think it was. And I know Star Lord had been around a little bit before then, but basically they showed up after Annihilation. That's when the group came together. They all had their individual stories before then. They all had their own thing going on before then, but still, like, that's when the team formed. With Ant-Man, I mean, Scott Lang is a relatively new character. I mean, well, not relatively new. He's been around for a few decades or so, but, he's a newer character. He's not as old as Hank Pym. We can throw that out there. But I think much like Guardians of the Galaxy, people are kind of unsure about it, but people are also focusing on other things. That's why, like, when I saw Ant-Man, I was like, well, that's cool, but, like, I'm really waiting for Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm really waiting for Captain America 3 Civil War. And that's the attitude that people have. And so when Age of Ultron comes out, people are, of course, going to go see Ant-Man. And I think Ant-Man's going to prove to be pleasantly surprising to a lot of people. I think they're really going to enjoy the character of Scott Lang, assuming they keep him in line with a character from the Marvel Comics. Now, what I'm hoping they do is they use the Scott Lang from what is it, Ant-Man, like the current run of Ant-Man from Marvel now. I'm hoping they use like that variation of his character where he's kind of humorous, but he's also kind of serious, and he's kind of unsure of himself, but he also knows that like he needs to do what needs to be done and that kind of thing. Or they make him very human. I'm really hoping they go with that. Let's see. Did I read Uncanny Inhumans #0? No, I haven't read Uncanny Inhumans yet. I know it's supposed to come out of the current run of Inhuman, but I haven't read it. Let's see. Hey Rob, happy birthday. What Lantern Corps would you want to be a part of? The Red Lantern Corps. Rage. All that power. No, I'd probably be part of the like the White Lantern Corps, or I guess the White Lantern, get like the white ring, or the Green Lantern Corps. Let's see. Rob, did Hydra infiltrating Shield? Did Hydra Oh, okay. Did Hydra infiltrating Shield in the comics? I assume you mean to ask, like, did that actually happen? Yes, that happened. But what's going on right now in Marvel Comics? I'm sorry, in Agents of Shield, it seems to be more in line with Nick Fury versus Shield, where the life model decoys took over, shooting it over, that kind of thing. Let's see. Are we the homies? Everybody's my homies. Like all my subscribers are my homies. It feels weird. Like I used to say that when I was younger. Like back when. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's go on a road trip. Since it's my birthday, let's go on a road trip back to the past, back to when Rob was a little kid. Like I used to live in Seattle when I was younger, before my parents divorced when I was around 11 or 12 years old. And living in Seattle was awesome, and I thought I was the coolest thing, but like I was always trying to fit in, and I was just the odd kid out. And so like instead of calling people foo, like that guy's a foo, which is what we used to say back in the 90s, I'd call him like a fool, and people would be like, "Man, you're an idiot." But I was good at basketball, which was cool. But yeah, man, let me tell you something, guys. Like, for those of you guys who didn't grow up in the 1990s, for those of you guys who were born in the 90s, like in the late 90s, who grew up in the 2000s, you guys missed it. Like, you guys missed it so bad. Like, the 1990s were amazing. We had stain-washed jeans, we had fanny packs, we had the Talk Boy, we had the Sega Genesis. See, it wasn't like it always like it is now. You couldn't like play with your friend over Xbox Live. If you wanted to like play video games with your friend, you had to go to his house. Like you had to be like, okay, I want to like can I come over? Like you had to ask their parents, can I come over and play, or can I come in and play like Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo? And you had to pray to God that your friend wasn't grounded, and so you guys could play together. Now, eventually, I got my own Sega Genesis and my own Super Nintendo, but I mean, like the 90s was all about like person to person interaction. Like you had to like talk to people, and so on. Now, like I walk around and people are just like on their phones all the time. Like it's crazy. Slap bracelets. Oh my God, slap bracelets. Oh my God. You stretch them out and you'd, pow, and they'd roll right up. Man, I miss those things. Oh my God. See, you guys know what I'm talking about. The 90s, man. Pogs. Oh my God. I had Pogs. I had comic book Pogs back in the day. Like I had comic Pogs. I had X-Men the Animated Series Pogs. I had one that was gold and it was like that thick, and I have no idea what happened to them. But Pogs were so cool. And they were just like collectibles. Apparently you could like play. Like I guess you could like play Pogs, but like I never learned how to play. I just bought them and collected them because all my friends had them. You still have Pogs? Oh my god. I'm 31, so. But anyway, so back to the topic at hand. Avengers versus New Avengers. Who do I side with? I side with the New Avengers. And I assume you're asking for like the whole incursions thing, like which one's making the right decision, which one's doing what needs to be done. I side with the New Avengers. For me, here's the reason why. I think Captain America's an idiot for taking the stance that he's taking, for saying that we should not destroy other worlds because, like their life, and that's stupid. Like we don't know who's on those worlds, and that's the kicker. And Captain America doesn't know. Like Captain America on one hand would say, okay, these people need to be able to stay alive. Like they need to be able to live because they have their own universe, their own world. We shouldn't kill innocent people. But on the other hand, he has no idea if the incursion that's about to happen and the world that's showing up is filled with like the opposite of the Marvel comics. Like if it's like another version of the Cancerverse where they're going to show up and they're like, hey, we're just like evil versions of all of you. And we're just going to like kill you all. Like they don't know that. Captain America doesn't know that. And so Captain America would say, well, we can't destroy that world. Whatever. That's nonsense. At the end of the day, the stance that I would take is the same stance that everybody in the Illuminati's taken. Like it sucks for their world, and I'm sorry about their luck, but we gotta watch out for our own. And if Earth pops up in the stratosphere out in space, and we're like, oh my God, there's another planet, and in 8 hours it's gonna hit us. I'm sorry about their luck, but that place is getting blown to smithereens, and there's no beef about it. Like that's just all there is to it. So I wouldn't feel that bad. Now Namor lost his mind. For those of you guys who are, I guess, who are familiar with Time Runs Out, who are current with Time Runs Out, just ignore this next little bit. But for those of you guys who aren't, and we'll cover this during our Time Runs Out video, after the Illuminati kicked Namor out of the group, which we had covered during our incursions video, because he destroyed the Great Society Earth. He went on and formed his own cabal. So he had Proxima Midnight, he had Thanos, he had Corvus Glaive, he had a couple other people, I think, and they went through and just like started annihilating worlds. Like just like they didn't just wait for the incursions to happen. They started seeking out other worlds and annihilating them entirely and destroying them. And then the Cabal just kind of started losing their minds, and they started fighting each other, which is what you would expect when a bunch of villains get together and start fighting one another. And even Namor had reached out to Doctor Doom and was like, "Hey man, like I need you to like step in here." And he's like, "Sorry about your luck. You should have picked a better team." It was really cool the way it all played out, but that's just one part of Time Runs Out. There's a ton of stuff that happens after that. There's Starbrand and there's the Ex Nihilos and all that kind of good stuff. But nonetheless, yeah, it gets crazy. Like it gets crazy. Like Time Runs Out. But see, here's the problem. Time Runs Out has like these big lull periods where there's like nothing happens. Nothing that matters happens. But in order to make the end of Time Runs Out make sense, like we're gonna have to explain all that stuff. So we're gonna have to talk about Starbrand and those guys. But nonetheless, what we might do is I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do Time Runs Out. We'll get it sorted out so that it'll make sense by the time Secret War starts. But the Iron Man poster is bugging you. It is at an angle. Huh. There we go. Okay, thank you. My guitar case is sitting right next to it, so chances are I probably fell into it or something like that. But it should be straightened out now. Like I hope you're not bugged anymore. Let's see. Comics Explained. What? Oops. We got to scroll back up again. Okay. What is a popular comic book event or run that everyone loves but you may think is overrated or just disliked? Spiderverse. Everybody loves Spiderverse. I thought Spiderverse sucked. Like nothing happened. I was like, you know what? Like all the Spider-Men are like, oh my God, these like 5 guys are chasing us and killing us off. So let's all band together. But as soon as one shows up, let's run away. Like I was like, okay, this is dumb. Like I didn't like Spider-Verse at all. Spider-Verse just felt like a way for Marvel to come along and say, okay guys, look, the incursions are happening. I guess we could just chalk up the death of all the Spider-Man to the incursions, but we've got to like fans are going to want to know what happens to all these different Spider-Man. They're going to want to know what happens to like all these different characters. Plus there's some we might want to bring in. So let's just like create this big event that was totally unnecessary. Like I wasn't a big fan of Spider-Verse at all. Who do I think the strongest character in DC Marvel universe? Are we talking about right now, or are we talking about like this ever existed? Because we're talking about any like the strongest character who's ever existed in DC and Marvel. I'd say probably Superman 1 million or Superman Prime. But even then, there's characters he could go against, or they could go against him. I mean, let's say like I don't know, probably not Galactus. Galactus probably couldn't do anything against him. Because Superman Prime was God level Superman. If I remember that correctly, somebody make sure I'm right. If it's like Superman 1 million or Superman Prime, or if they're both the same person, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's Superman 1 million though. Superman 1 million and maybe the Living Tribunal, I think would be a good matchup. Are you excited for Batman versus Superman? Yeah. Heck yeah, I'm excited for Batman versus Superman. I'm going to go see it. I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't. Yes, Jarrell Jones, it is my birthday. Yes, I'm going to go see it. I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't. I'm actually pretty excited to see Ben Affleck playing Superman. Henry Cavill was, he was all right, but he was a product of, oh, okay, Superman Prime and Superman 1 million are different. Okay. But no, Henry Cavill was a product of, I guess, of just not very good writing. So, I think that with Ben Affleck, man, it's a crapshoot. Ben Affleck could be astounding as Batman, or it could be a total catastrophe. He's obviously demonstrated he's a great actor. Like he's a really, really good actor. I mean, look at what was it, The Town, Argo, Good Will Hunting. I mean, he's just got like a back catalog of great films. Gone Girl. I mean, he's got a back catalog of just amazing films that were absolutely solid. But I think that if the story is written bad, and if his character is written bad, people are going to say he's a terrible Batman, as opposed to that Batman was written like crap. Because non-comic book fans don't differentiate. They don't know to differentiate. See, like a lot of you guys who are avid DC fans, who were getting in the New 52 right when it launched, knew that when like the Man of Steel came out, you said, okay, this is New 52 Superman. This is not classic Superman. People who didn't read the comics looked at that and said, Superman. He's the Man of Steel, you know. I mean, he has this whole thing, truth, justice, and the American way, I think was his catchphrase. That's the Superman they imagined. The red suit, or the blue suit, and the red tight, or the red underwear, like that was their Superman. That's the only Superman they know, because they can't differentiate between, you know, Golden Age Superman, post-Golden Age Superman, Silver Age Superman, pre-Crisis Superman, post-Crisis Superman, you know, New 52 Superman. They don't know all that stuff. They just see Superman, and they're just like, Superman, you know. That's the kind of problem that Ben Affleck is going to have. If they write in like New 52 Bruce Wayne, people are going to say, okay, well, this is obviously not Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. This is not that version. They're not going to know that. They're just going to say Batman. Like Bruce Wayne, he's a billionaire. He dresses up as a bat and he fights people. I mean, you know, whatever. Like that's what they're going to see. And so they're going to say he's a terrible Batman, as opposed to they wrote a crappy version of Batman. But, you know, nonetheless, I mean, New 52 Batman is awesome. Like, it's amazing. You know, Scott Snyder's done a great job. But, you know, let's see. Dormammu, Trigon, or Mephisto? Dormammu, hands down. Dormammu would obliterate all. Like, he's stupidly powerful. I think there was a point, it was, oh God, Strange Tales. No, it wasn't Strange Tales, because I think he showed up after Strange Tales. Maybe it was a solo series. Issue like 31 or something, I don't remember what it was. Doctor Strange was like, if Dormammu showed up in this reality, no one could stop him. Like, he would kill everybody. Like, there's nothing we'd be able to do. Which is a pretty big deal. Like, if they were like a fully powered Dormammu, would be able to obliterate all. Rob, happy birthday. Thank you. Would you like to see Wildcats live action movie, or do you think it would be better for something on Netflix? A Wildcats. Are you talking about the cartoon show? Like the two cats? Like the pilots? Like, is that what you're talking about? Let me know if that's what you're talking about. Do I think Jay Garrick has a chance of showing up in the comics in the season finale of the Flash TV series. I don't know, because here was the deal. I assume you're talking about the Flash of Two Earths. Here was the deal. For those of you guys who don't know about the Flash of Two Earths, this was DC creating their multiverse. This was the first time the multiverse ever popped up in DC Comics. The Flash of Two Earths basically told us, yes, Wally West is a current version of Flash. I'm sorry, Barry Allen is a current version of Flash, but there's also like Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick. Like he is, no, wait a minute. Yeah, Jay Garrick. He is the Golden Age Flash. And so he exists in his own parallel reality. There's no, I mean, as far as they've said in the TV show, there was no Flash before this one. Like there's never been a Flash before. And so they've never seen this thing before. So I don't know how they would base it off of, unless they said, oh, hey, like, yeah, there was a Flash before Barry Allen. It's just nobody knew who he was or knew that he was there. I can't imagine them doing that. Like, it wouldn't make any sense. But what they could do is they could simply say, okay, like Jay Garrick is Barry Allen in a different reality. Like in a different reality, Jay Garrick became the Flash instead of Barry Allen. They could do it that way. And that would be a great tip of the hat to a lot of DC fans and saying, yes, Jay Garrick does exist in this multiversal, landscape of the DC TV shows. He's just not the Golden Age Flash. Now, some really hardcore DC fans would flip their shit, but that's because they don't, because they're so set in their ways, they can't accept change. But I think that for the most part, most DC fans would say, well, that's cool, and just kind of go from there. And they would get more into it because it'd be DC basically saying like, hey guys, like, look, we recognize some of the fan favorites that you guys have loved for all these years, and they're still here. It's just they're playing in a different capacity than they normally would have done in the regular landscape. Am I excited for the Fantastic Four movie? Do I think they'll introduce Galactus, Annihilus, or maybe even cross over the X-Men? Honestly, I think you're giving Fox way too much credit here. Fox wouldn't know what to do with Annihilus if they used him at all. Like they would just say, "Oh, here's a green alien that is powerful and wants to fight the Fantastic Four, and let's just make them fight." I don't think we'll get Galactus. I don't think we'll get Annihilus. I mean, it'll be them versus Doctor Doom. Honestly, I'm not really sure how I feel about a Fantastic Four film. I mean, I really want to see it. I really want to go watch it. It's just I'm not going in with a high expectation. I'm going in and expecting a stereotypical Fox screw up. Like that's kind of what I'm expecting, for Fox to just kind of screw it up. But at the end of the day, the fact that I'm going to see it is the only thing that Fox cares about. They're like, hey man, as long as people pay money to go see this, we don't care what you think about it. So that's pretty much it, which is a really bad attitude to take because that's how you destroy a franchise. So, let's see. The New 52 is a good source material for movies. I mean, I like it more than other multiverses, but I guess it could be more restraining. The New 52, so here's a problem. A lot of older, and this is kind of the crazy things. If people are getting into DC Comics now, New 52 is where they start, and they say, "Oh, New 52 is awesome! Like this is so cool!" And I'm basically reading Superman from year zero, and it's really really nice. A lot of the older DC comic fans hate New 52, and they hate New 52 because all the continuity that they loved, all the stories they loved, are gone. Which is not an unreasonable stance to take. It's not unreasonable to say the character that you've read for the last 20, 25, 30 years doesn't exist anymore, and it makes you angry. That's very reasonable, which is why Convergence is happening in the first place. It's DC saying, okay guys, look, we know you guys loved pre-New 52 stories, so here you go. Here's just an event with a ton of pre-New 52 stories. Now, some of the stories are stupid. I don't know why they're doing some of those stories, but, they're like, hey guys, here you go, read these stories, and it'll be basically us going back to the Great Day. But after this, like, we're done. We're not going back to those anymore. It's all New 52 from this point going forward. And so it's basically DC's, final hurrah to the pre-Flashpoint era of DC Comics. But I think that going forward, I mean, New 52 is going to have to be the source of material for DC stuff because, those of you guys who are reading New 52 now, if you watch a movie about or watch a TV show about a DC comic book character and he's part of the New 52, but the story you're being given in the TV show is not the New 52 story, you're going to be confused. You're going to say, well, this is weird. Like, why is this? I don't understand. If they go back to pre-New 52, it's going to confuse a lot of people. So I think the New 52 is pretty much where you want to start with. It's pretty much where you want to go with the whole DC thing. Winnie the Pooh explained. I don't know about that. Oh, SWAT Cats. Yeah, that's what that was. That's what that was. I never read Wildcats. I don't know. I know it's going to be in Convergence, which I'm actually kind of interested to see that whole thing. It'll see that's going to be the really cool thing, guys. Is a lot of you guys who have read this stuff in the past, you guys are going to love our videos about, or love my videos about Convergence, because this is all going to be new to me. This is going to be my first time going through and reading these stories, like reading about these characters, because in the 90s, it was X-Men for me. It wasn't until New 52 that I started getting into DC Comics, and then I just started reading DC pre-New 52 for a lot of the videos that we did, but I was never an avid pre-Flashpoint DC fan. That was never my bread and butter. Mine was Marvel back in the day. And so I think you guys are going to love love our videos, because there's going to be a lot of holy cow moments and wow, that was kind of weird, and like what's the point of this character moments, things like that. There'll be a lot of those. And so I think you guys will be able to look at me going through these videos and say that was you back when you were first reading these things. It'll be a great, I think, nostalgia experience in a lot of ways. But nonetheless, yes, I've read Rage of Ultron, and it was all right. I mean, it was decent enough. Let's see. Rob eating pudding explained. Make a video of myself just eating pudding and like, this is delicious pudding and the pudding is good and it's this and that and that. What two major stories from the Avengers and Justice League would I like to see as animated films? Ooh, that's a good one. God in heaven. Man. Well, the Justice League, I'm not sure, because I'm not as familiar with stories about the Justice League. I'll leave that question to you guys. You guys tell me, what Justice League story, out of all the DC Justice Leagues, what story would you like to see turned into a animated film? With regards to the Avengers, that I'm a lot more familiar with. This may be kind of weird. This may be kind of silly. And some folks may be like, what? But I would like to see Operation Galactic Storm turned into an animated film. Like, that was a great story. I loved Operation Galactic Storm. That's way back in. Children's Crusade would make a good film too, but I like the old school stuff. So I'd say Operation Galactic Storm. I know a lot of you guys are just like, what's that? Like, I don't understand. What's Operation Galactic Storm? Like, what in the world is going on? Let's see. Did you enjoy the Shadowlands event for Daredevil? And what did you think of him killing Bullseye? I actually haven't read it. I'm not current with Daredevil, but I need to be. Rob, if Guardians of the Galaxy were to fight Howard the Duck and Batman, who would win? Batman has an hour prep, but Guardians of the Galaxy can call in Deadpool for help. That's ridiculously unfair. Okay. The Guardians of the Galaxy cannot call in Deadpool. I'm going to amend your thing. All right, Batman still gets an hour of prep time. But, well, no, okay, fine. Yeah, okay, they can call in Deadpool. Okay, Batman gets an hour of prep time, and he's with Howard the Duck, and Guardians of the Galaxy have Deadpool. All right, Batman creates a ray that neutralizes the healing factor of Deadpool. He shoots Deadpool. Deadpool's out of the picture. So now it's Batman and Howard the Duck versus Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't think of a way that Batman would be able to shield himself from the elements of Star-Lord's elemental gun. So he dodges that consistently. He can probably go against Groot, but Groot would be tough. So let's say he fights, like he immediately goes into Star-Lord, fights Star-Lord right off the bat, steals his gun, freezes Groot using the gun, or let's say he just burns Groot. Let's say he like uses fire and burns Groot to the ground. So now Groot's dead. Like he's literally just been burned. Let's say that Gamora is going against Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck dies. I mean, why would he live? So, so we've got Batman versus Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax the Destroyer. Batman has an hour of prep time. Batman presses a button on his belt, and the entire Bat family arrives. So now we've got Batgirl, we've got Nightwing, we've got Red Hood, we've got Damian Wayne, and we've got Red Robin fighting alongside Batman. All of them overpower the remaining Guardians of the Galaxy. The only exception is let's say, Drax the Destroyer. Because Drax the Destroyer would easily be able to take on the entire Bat family and then some. And so he takes out the entire Bat family. So right now it's Batman versus Drax the Destroyer. So Batman's fighting Drax the Destroyer. Batman's being overpowered. He presses a button again on his utility belt. Superman shows up. Superman pummels Drax the Destroyer, tears his head off. Batman wins. Done and done. Next question. So, all right. Can you further explain Adam Warlock? I mean, I don't know how much more we can go into him. I don't know. Guardians of the Galaxy call Adam Warlock, fight over. Let's see. What do I think of the Bat Family? I think the Bat Family is kind of cool. I mean, I think that Red Hood is the coolest member of the Bat Family. Like, I love Red Hood's character. But, you know, the Bat Family is pretty decent. Damn, Rob. This is New 52 Superman. He didn't mind killing people. Let's see. Is Quicksilver the fastest speedster in the Marvel Universe? Yes and no. He's not as fast as somebody who's using the time gem, the runner, I think it was, but it actually, not the time gem, the space gem. The runner was using the space gem, and he was able to subconsciously, like, teleport. So he wasn't really, like, running, per se. He was teleporting. Like, he knew where he wanted to be, and he would instantly be there. Like Thanos had said, you're not really running, like, you're teleporting. So that's not really running. I'd say that if you're talking about, like, literally feet to the ground and running in a direction, they're probably Quicksilver. But the runner's still, like, he's an elder of the universe, so he may be faster. We've never seen a race between the two, and we've never seen the runner where he was literally running from one place to another. We've never seen that, so it's really hard to gauge. Hyperion is better than Superman? I don't know about that. Like, I don't know about all that. Hyperion's solid, but yeah, Jason Todd, Red Hood. Let's see. Who do I think should play Wolverine after Hugh Jackman? I don't know. I mean, that's a problem with the character. See, I think that's what Hugh Jackman was afraid of. Not that anybody would not be able to play the character after him, but that people would say, like, who else could play Wolverine except for Hugh Jackman? I think he was afraid of getting typecast. The Wizard's fast, but he's not that fast. He's not nearly as fast as Quicksilver. I think that, God, I don't know. I mean, so here's the problem, though, with Hugh Jackman even playing Wolverine in the first place. One, Wolverine is supposed to be short, and he's supposed to be bulky. He's supposed to be short and huge in size. And I can't think of anybody in Hollywood who's short and massive in size. Most people who are really, really bulky and muscular are tall. Like, they're big, like, great big people. I don't know. I have no earthly clue who would play Hugh Jackman or play Wolverine besides Hugh Jackman. Nicolas Cage is Wolverine? No way. Is Deadpool a mutant? No. Deadpool was given his healing factor due to the Weapon X program. Let's see. Do you consider Superman as a cosmic being? Within the realm of DC Comics, I guess, if he were thrust into the Marvel Comics, certainly he'd be a cosmic level being because his power is on such a high level that there are very few people that could physically challenge him. But I'd say within the realm of DC, see, I'm not really sure how the whole cosmic being thing is set up in DC Comics. I need to do some research on that first. I mean, I know that they have stuff like, I think, the New Gods or something like that. I'm not 100% sure about that. I know that was like Kirby's idea way back in the day, or I guess he wanted to expand on it and everything, but I'm not 100% sure. Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito as Wolverine would be hysterical. Superman versus Deadpool. Ooh. We should do a video about that. Like a versus video. Like, I might do that. Just say, like, hey guys, this is a one-off. This is just for fun. Like, we're probably never going to do this again. And just do Superman versus Deadpool. Like, Deadpool can heal from anything, but can Superman kill him, or would he kill Superman? That would be such an awesome video. Like, that would be cool. Let's see. Favorite villain and hero in both DC and Marvel. Ooh. Favorite villain and hero in both DC and Marvel. Well, with DC Comics, one of my favorite villains, one of the villains that I think is probably the best villain that DC has, at least in my opinion, is Lex Luthor. And that's because Lex Luthor is the embodiment of what happens when you have a man who's pushed to the limit and who will never stop pursuing the idea of another human being. Like he's the epitome of what a human being could be. And I think that's what makes Lex Luthor so attractive to a lot of comic book readers, because they say, wow, like he's just a guy. Like he's just a man who's just super smart and really, really wealthy. In terms of heroes in DC Comics, probably Batman, because again, he's just kind of a guy who's really rich and has a lot of gadgets. In terms of Marvel, I would say, Marvel's a little more complicated. A favorite hero in Marvel, probably Captain America, because of the fact that his resolve just doesn't break. Like he always believes in he always believes in the right thing. Like he always believes that what he's doing is right, which regardless of whether or not he is, I think that it's still, I think that's still a good call, on behalf of his character. In terms of villains, I would say Magneto. And here's why. Magneto, I think, is probably the greatest villain in Marvel Comics. And the reason why is because Magneto is a guy who's ruled by his past. Like Magneto cannot get past the fact that mutants were persecuted, that mutants are being persecuted in the Marvel Universe. But what he does is he superimposes his experiences in Nazi Germany onto the relationship between mutants and humans, and then goes forward. And so what he's doing is he's not really fighting on behalf of mutants, he's fighting against Nazis that don't exist anymore. Like that's what he's doing. And that's why I think his character is so dramatic and so dynamic, is because he's a guy who just can't move forward. Like he just can't step forward. He's just constantly ruled by what happened in the past. Let's see. Captain America in the movies is awesome. Like he's amazing. All right, guys, we're gonna do this for about another five or 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and bounce off here because I need to get to work. I need to get some food in me and get to work on our video for tomorrow. Well, maybe not tomorrow. We'll probably do a video on Tuesday. I need a break for tomorrow, but let's see. Captain America in the Green Lantern Corps. Oh my God, could you imagine? Like Captain America in the Green Lantern Corps would be pretty amazing. Doom is a great villain too, but I think Magneto is much, like in terms of personality, in terms of the character, I think Magneto is a much better villain. Now, if we're talking about in terms of just like going through and just like making people's lives a living hell, oh, definitely Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is a great thorn in everybody's side. Like Doctor Doom does not discriminate in terms of the new nuisance that he makes himself out to be with regards to superheroes. Like he'll be a pain in anybody's rear end. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter to him. Let's see. Who has more powerful heroes, DC versus Marvel? Oh, definitely Marvel. Marvel has more godlike level characters, but DC has more, I guess, less godlike level characters. I mean, you got to think about it. Marvel has the Sentry, they have Blue Marvel, they have Hyperion. Those are just three versions of Superman in Marvel Comics. Like, Marvel has Power Girl, I guess they have Supergirl, they have Superman, but at the end of the day, like, you've got Best Tragic Hero. At the end of the day, I mean, you've got cosmic level entities. You've got the Beyonders. You've got the Beyonder, the one from Secret Wars. You've got the One Above All. You've got the Living Tribunal. You've got Galactus. You've got Eternity, Infinity, Eon. Let's see. You got Quasar. You have all these like cosmic level characters. Adam Warlock, Thanos, and so on. Like I would say, by leaps and bounds, Marvel has far stronger characters than DC Comics, which I like cosmic level characters. Let's see. Who is Lady Thor? We don't know. We have no idea who Lady Thor is. No earthly clue. We might do a video on Blue Marvel, now that I think about it. They have Manhunter. Yeah, that's true. Read Uncanny Inhumans 0. Finally find out what happened after Infinity. Okay, so does that tie? Okay, because I know that... All right, so here was my problem with Infinity. Infinity, like we had the Infinity event, and then if I remember correctly, Black Bolt detonated the the Terrigen bomb, and so then we had the Terrigen mist spread throughout the world, and then we jumped to Inhumanity, which was like, oh my god, there's all these Inhumans popping up, and then Inhuman picks up after Inhumanity, and then Black Bolt disappears because of the incursions, and he's working with the Illuminati. Yeah, I'll definitely check out Uncanny Inhumans #0 then if that's the case, because like I love the Inhumans, like I think Inhumans are fantastic. Let's see. Please explain Rob's birthday. Radioactive exposure from another planet, traveled through a different time and dimension, or created in a lab by experimental government organization to dominate YouTube. All of the above. Can I call Sal and Tiffany? I mean, I guess we could call Sal. See what Sal's doing. Maybe he'll answer. Let's call Sal. Maybe he'll pick up. We'll see what's up. If you can change how Deadpool kills Deadpool, how would you end it? I wouldn't have had the story in the first place. Blue Marvel versus Sentry versus King Hyperion. Well, Sal's not answering for some reason. It says he's calling, but it's not picking up. Huh. Well, there was no answer, so I assume he's just really, really busy. Let's see. Please don't call Sal. Chris Evans has one movie left after Civil War. Do you think he might die at the end of Civil War and then be resurrected for Avengers Infinity War? No, I don't think so. I think they're going to kill Chris Evans off, and I think Sam Wilson's going to take his place as all new Captain America. So, like, I think that's pretty much the direction they're going to be going in. Upset about Kentucky losing? Yeah, I'm upset about Kentucky losing. Why wouldn't I be? Like, that was my team. Let's see. Punisher versus Moon Knight versus Red Hood. Oh, God. Punisher versus Moon Knight versus Red Hood. See, I love, like, these versus things that you guys come up with. They crack me up. Punisher versus Moon Knight versus Red Hood. Well, Mark Spector would be taken out almost immediately. There's no way Mark Spector could hang with Punisher and Red Hood. Like, no possible way. I mean, Punisher would just shoot him as soon as he saw him, and like no questions asked. Red Hood would be able to dodge out of the way because Red Hood has all the training of Batman and then some. Let's see. Ooh, honestly, I'd say Red Hood would probably win out between against the Punisher because Frank Castle does not have the kind of training that Red Hood has. I mean, Red Hood was trained by by Batman when he was Jason Todd. Plus, he had all the training that he got at the hands of some of the world's best, tacticians and hand-to-hand combat, weapons used, explosives, all different kinds of stuff. So I'd say most likely Red Hood would take the whole thing. But anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end this. So here's what's coming up. So we're definitely going to work on do some more MCU timeline videos. And here's the really cool thing. Going forward with the MCU timeline, this is when we're really going to get into a lot of the stuff that's happening in the movies, that we're going to be able to fill in the gaps between the movies. And we're going to talk about stuff that's going on behind the scenes in the movies. Because while one movie's happening, there's other stuff taking place that ties into other movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we're definitely going to do some more of those MCU timeline videos. We're going to talk about War Machine. We're going to talk about Black Widow. We're going to do videos on them. We're going to do videos on who else? We've already done Thor. We'll probably do a video on Heimdall. Probably the cast of the Avengers 2 Age of Ultron group as a whole, and then maybe a couple characters who are smaller characters in the film. And then after that, we're going to start doing videos that are going to lead us into Time Runs Out. We're still going to cover Convergence. We're going to have Convergence #1 as videos that we're going to do. So we're going to be chock full of stuff over the course of the next few months or so. So it's going to be pretty crazy. But well, what was your question, Charzakin? I'm sorry I didn't answer your question. What was your question? I'll wait here patiently until you ask your question, and then I'll bounce off here. So, but we're gonna be really like hammering out a whole bunch of different stuff. We're gonna be working our butts off for all that stuff, for Convergence and like Secret Wars and removing people's comments and all kinds of stuff. So let's see. People are like, happy birthday. let's see. Well, that Charizard dude's not answering his question. So, all right, guys. Well, yeah, I'm gonna bounce off here. So, oh, if you guys want to know how it was that me and the Weekly Pool guys got together, go check out the podcast. Oh, okay. Well, there's Charizard's question. What would be your ultimate team matchup, mixing DC and Marvel characters? Who would they fight against? Oh my God. Okay. We're gonna have to do that like another time because that's a really, really in-depth question. Um, or maybe we'll do a video about that. Best of DC versus the best of Marvel and see who wins. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and bounce off here, guys. Be looking out for those videos that we had talked about, and yeah, so I'll catch you guys later. Peace.